Hey, how are you? Welcome back to Red Shoes Diary. I hope you've had a good week. I hope things have went well. Hope you've had a lot of answered prayers. I hope you took time to yourself and to the good Lord. I hope that whatever you've done has been done well. How about that? Whatever it may be. I hope that life is just kicking you and you're fat and sassy. And if you ain't, I hope you find a way to make it that way. Anyway, I'm over here in the what we call our big barn, sitting here, barn stable. We go in the stable. Think about how many years been down here working and doing on this place. I wonder how many animals, horses, cattle, everything else been in and out of these stables. How many men's climbed up these barn poles and hung tobacco and braided tobacco and done whatever need to be done. Brought in, used to be square bales stacked in here all up. Now we do round bales. One man operation, a lot simpler. But there's been a lot of sweat put through this old place. Thankful I've been a part of it. Thankful I've been able to be a part of it. A lot of good memories here. A lot of tired memories too. Finally get done at the end of the evening, get about dusky dark, and you're like, man, I'm done. I'm beat. But it was honest, tired. You done a day's work. Time you walked out of here, especially my daddy or my uncles being here, you earned your evening. Go get a bite to eat. Trust me. Sort of like Daddy said, the harder you work, better your beans and taters taste. Well, he told me that. Worked real hard that night. I was so tired I couldn't hardly taste my beans and taters. I decided that was a crock. That wasn't truth at all. But he got extra work on me that day. I was sitting here thinking about years ago. Shoot, it's probably close to 30 years or better. Something like that. Buddy of mine had this little donkey. I call it a little mini mule, a little donkey. I believe years ago when we was at the zoo, they had them in there. They called them crossburros, is what they call them, for little donkeys. And supposedly because of the dark streak down their, down the neck to the back and across their front shoulders, it made a cross. Supposedly, they said their bloodline went back to the one that carried Jesus. Is why the cross, the way the markings was, is what was. I remember reading on the plaque. It's what it told. But he had one up there up Kentucky. That thing, he this little old feller. And he'd been into everything yet. I decided I liked Charlie. I just told him, Charlie just misunderstood. Well, Charlie wasn't misunderstood. Charlie was just mean. He just had a mean streak in him. He'd hide it well, but it'd come out every now and then. So I'd trade him 3 rolls of hay for this little thing. He brought it down, I swapped the rolls out. Of course, Dad wasn't happy. I swapped 3 rolls of hay for this thing. And it wasn't like we didn't have enough hay to do everything. 3 rolls definitely didn't affect us in any shape, form, or fashion, but that's still one of those. Well, me and Charlie decided we'd go about getting to know each other a little better. So I messed with him, walked around, done this, that, And I finally found an old collar and stuff in there and a little old setup, chains, hangings, and a single tree. And so I took him over here in one of our woods to cut me a tree, I don't remember what it was for. Cedar must have been for a pole for something, I don't know what. But I had him standing there and I've been over hooked him up, about ready to hook him up. I heard something, I looked. Well, that little feller had kicked both feet. If I had been up probably 6 inches, he took my head off. He kicked right over top of my head, tried to kick my head off. I'm like, seriously? So anyway, I still get him hooked. I drag it over here, Of course, collar really didn't fit him and stuff, but he still had to bring his pole over here. So I had to take him off down to the water trough down here. Of course, he didn't want to go, and we got an argument over that. Now, Stubborn's word, he was just wasn't going to go. And of course, I was thinking he was going to go. At one time, I actually grabbed him up by his halter and I picked him up like this. I don't know, he probably weighed 500 pounds, whatever. And had his front end up, but I never could get him up high enough to get him completely off the ground to swing him off the bank. Yeah, I know that's wrong. But by that point, me and him was just not talking real well to each other. So finally Charlie's got to go. Man down the road down here trading, swapping horse and stuff, had him come look at it, get rid of him. Well, he offered, I think, $50 for him. And I had him back here, started bringing him. Well, he decided he's going to take off. Well, I had to hold his halter. When he took off, I grabbed the hold of the thing, jumped straddle of him, twisted him, I bulldogged him. I got him stopped. But now, when he jumped up to take off, he stomped on my right leg there, right at the bone, the muscle, about halfway down, where the shin is. Took off. Of course, that flat out hurt. But we got him hauled up, loaded up. Well, I wound up having to go to the doctor, have him x-ray my leg to see if he broke it. He hadn't broke it, best we could tell, which there's still a dip. You run your finger over, there's a big dip. We think he sort of took a little bit of the bone off and maybe part of the muscle down right there, but it's still there. He left his mark, old Charlie did. So that $75 mule wound up cost me, well, the 3 rolls of hay, 70. So I lost the 50 bucks, $25 because I sold him for 50. Then it cost me another $150 to go to the doctor about my other. So Charlie cost me about $200, but I got my head took off and every bloody thing else. Needless to say, I never went look for Charlie's no more. But I have to laugh because you think about how it is. You wonder sometimes that ain't the way good Lord looks at us. We ain't listening to him. If he don't want to grab us by our halter and shake us a little bit, say, now listen to me, you need to drink this here water. Or maybe we're turned our head, not paying attention. He wants to reach over and kick us upside the head and get our attention because we're not paying attention to what's going on. We're not listening to him. I mean, you look at old Jonah there, he told him what he wanted to do. And of course, Jonah didn't want to do it. He decided he could just run away from him. Well, we know where that wound up at, Of course, it says belly of the fish or whatever. Some always says Jonah in the whale. I don't know if I like that part. That way that works. Scientist says there ain't no way old Jonah went in the whale because mouth stuff ain't big enough for him to go down his throat, so that couldn't have never happened. All I can tell you is I don't know, because I figure if the good Lord decided that's what he wanted to happen, he'd have the whale swallow old Jonah. It doesn't matter what we think, what anybody else modern versions think. And if, like I said, I don't think Jonah in the fish would do as well, sound as good as Jonah in the whale. I hate to disappoint you. But, he spent him, man, finally got his attention. Sometimes that's how we are as Christians these days, I think. He's got stuff for us to do, and we're bullheaded. We don't want to go down that drink of water. We don't want to pull that old log. We don't go about what he has us to be a-doing because we have our own ideas, own ways of thinking. So sometimes he's got to get our attention. And I really have no desire to be in the belly of a whale, belly of a fish. From my understanding, something I was reading the other day, that we think in this world we're so highly intelligent, we think we got it all figured out, we know everything. But from my understanding, when I read the other day, they only know actually have checked out 10% of the ocean. Look how much ocean water actually covers the earth. Think about that. But they've only explored about 10% of it, really. So whatever else is there that we don't know about. So that might make you think about that. Might make you think about what all you need to do your own self. Maybe sometimes stop and listen a little better before the good Lord has to kick you or toss you off the bank. Get your attention. Or put you in the belly. Who knows? But, like I said, Charlie had to go down the road. Charlie probably would really hurt me if we stayed around each other. I'd hurt him one to the other. But that's part of life. That's the way it goes. On another thought, I didn't watch that Charlie Kirk, the whole thing this past Sunday. I caught bits and pieces, seen the highlights, whatever. You know, when his wife walked out and talked about what I was thing, and she said, I forgive the shooter. I'm sure people say that she's just play acting. Them's awfully good play acting tears it was, but that is probably one of the hardest things people do. Before Jesus died, he said, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." Do you know how hard that has to be to stand up there and publicly acknowledge it, that she's going to forgive this man for what he's done? He took away her husband, father of her children. Man, a lot of people listened to, watched. And you got people downgrading him, putting him down. He's this. That's just part of it, folks. You always going to have people, and if you stand up for anything true, godly, or anything else, people's going to be against you. I watched one of his, they questioning at one of those universities one day, and the person said, "Oh, I don't go by he or him or her or whatever. I go by thee or them." And he goes, "These are my pronouns." He said, "Well, I can't do that." And they're like, well, why can't you?" He goes, "Because I love you too much to lie to you. You're either male or female." And I respect that, highly respect him, standing up and saying that. I truly do. And that's probably one of the hardest things as Christians, to stand up and be honest to what you believe in and say it out loud. They've made us to be afraid of everything, fear everything. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. And, we won't acknowledge him. He won't acknowledge us to the Father. Anyway, folks, I hope you stand true and strong to your faith. I hope if somebody's done wrong to you, that you don't curl that anger around you and hold it like a shield. I hope and pray that you find some way in your heart to forgive them. Even if they don't come and ask you for forgiveness, just to forgive them. Let that anger go. Find some peace in your life. Because if you don't, you hang on to that, it will destroy you in the end. They've even proved it. It will. So anyway, folks, I hope you have a great week. I hope that all the blessings you pray for, whether it's for healings, might be something simple, just for safe travels, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing. Maybe you just need a little help in whatever life is throwing at you right now. I hope you take time to talk to the good Lord. Anyway, folks, from down here in the old barn, big barn, at the stables, stop and think. That's where my Lord was born in. I'm sure it didn't look nothing like his, but in the stables with him in a manger, makes you should humble you a little bit. Anyway, folks, as always, may the good Lord take a liking to you, not too soon. As always, Austin.